guys, what's up? It's Bree. 你们好，我叫 Baby. So today's video I'm going to be talking about how I got so good at Chinese so fast. I actually, if I'm being honest, I don't know exactly how good I am at Chinese. I've been able to have like real conversations, not like extremely deep, not just like, hi, like, can I order food? But like stuff like a little bit deeper than that. I'm definitely not fluent by any means. And I can recognize a lot of characters, but if I'm being honest, I can't really write any because with Chinese, which I might do a video on about how you type in Chinese, you type in basically like the phonetic sound. Okay, so for just a little bit of a background information, I just got back to America from studying abroad in Shanghai. I was just doing 2 hours a day, 4 days a week. I went to East China Normal University. But yeah, going into China, I knew basically no Chinese. I knew ni hao, which is hello, and xie xie, which is thank you, and literally like ni hao ma, which is just adding a question mark to hello, which means like kind of a how are you. Like literally I knew like nothing. I didn't even know how to say like my name is, like absolutely nothing. And there was 13 of us in my beginning one Chinese class that had no Chinese experience. I remember like the first day of my program, I was just like, what's going on? Like I absolutely was like so lost, so confused when I got there. So I don't think I just went in here and I was just like, yeah, like this is dope, like I know Chinese, this is so easy, because it was like quite the journey to get where I am. So yeah. And fun fact, after my first tutoring session in Chinese, I was crying. I was like, this is so hard, I'm never gonna know how to speak Chinese, so. But don't sweat it though if you don't get it right away. Like, I know during all my first like quizzes and tests and stuff that were like based off pronunciation and like recognizing sounds and stuff like that, like no characters involved. I was just like, what? And like the different tones, like, you'll get it, just like don't worry about it too much. Like even if you're not perfect right away, just like keep trying to talk even if the tones are wrong and stuff, because you'll be able to fix that later. At least I was able to, and that's what worked for me. So once you realize what sounds exist in Chinese, then you can go on to getting like the strong foundation for like the core grammar. I really love language learning. I thought about like majoring or minoring or something in linguistics, so overall I found this super fascinating. If you don't, like, I hope you can find a passion through learning Chinese or learning whatever you're trying to learn. But yeah, like getting the strong foundation, not only for just like, oh, like subject, object, verb, or like stuff like that, but doing things like understanding. This is the biggest thing I could tell you about learning language. So I was in Japan and Korea and Hong Kong and Vietnam and all these places before I went to China. And I was trying to learn these languages with the idea of speaking them how an English speaker speaks. And I like just never clicked, and never like occurred to me that literally Eastern cultures and people all over the world in different languages and cultures speak differently than how we speak in English. And if you're in America and you're talking, having English conversation, you're probably gonna go like, hey, how are you? Good, how about you? And then maybe like, oh, what are you up to? Nothing. Like, that was just such a pointless conversation, and you're not gonna be having that in Chinese. You'll be asking totally different questions to start a conversation. Like, lots of my Chinese friends would be like, hey Bree, hi, did you eat today? Or like, are you eating yet? Like, oh, you look good, like. Or sometimes, like, literally, this is kind of funny, but, a lot of, like, my Chinese friends would be like, you look fat, Bree, like, but that's, like, supposed to mean, like, oh, you ate today, like, whatever. But yeah, just be ready and acknowledge how, like, a native speaker is speaking. Because you're not gonna say, like, ni hao, hello, ni hao ma, how are you? Because, yeah, there's a direct translation for, like, how are you, but no one's gonna be saying, how are you? Because that's just not how Chinese people speak. Understanding how like native speakers talk is so important. Something I really like and something that works for me is working with a native speaker, whether they be in person, a friend, or even like if you're trying to learn Chinese and you have an American-born Chinese friend and they just know like how like simple conversation goes in Chinese. Putting together like a template conversation, as me and my Japanese friends call it. Making a template conversation, because honestly in life it just seems like so much a conversation is literally small talk. So if you can master small talk, then like you're totally ready to go to intermediate stuff. So yeah, like I didn't realize that right at first, but literally like just being able to small talk and just try to memorize and like grind on that stuff is so important for learning language. and just learning the foundation, because if you can't have a real conversation with someone, you're not gonna learn the new things. Like if you can only say like, hi, insert food you want, or like, oh, sure, to like, obviously you're not gonna start learning new vocabulary unless you're able to have like a really broken, bad first conversation. And especially when I was studying in China, so many of the Chinese speakers also spoke English. So if there was like a point where I wanted to try and talk in Chinese, all my friends that are Chinese speak English and want to help me succeed. So especially offering to help back if they have any questions about English, like just being an open-minded person and not caring about being perfect, because you're not being racist, you're not being offensive if you're saying something wrong while you're learning a language. Like, you're just trying your best, and don't be afraid to make mistakes, because that's such a big, like, opportunity lost to just be afraid to speak Chinese when you're learning it, or whatever language. So I already talked about how, like, you should try to talk like a native speaker, try to have real conversations how you would speak in the language. And then my other big tip is to have native speaker friends, as well as having friends that learn the language as a second language. So like, say for me, I had a lot of friends that were Chinese when I was in Shanghai, that obviously Chinese was their first language, they're Chinese people. But then I also had some friends who were just like white people from the US who learned Chinese since they were like in elementary school in a Chinese immersion or something. And sometimes like, if you have like kind of a weird question, like relating something like to English, it can be easier to just ask your friend who like did this immersive experience. Also, sometimes if you're like kind of self-conscious or anxious about speaking Chinese around a native speaker, like having other like say American friends who speak Chinese as their second language, it can feel like maybe less intimidating if you say things wrong, because you might not feel like offensive or like they're judging you or something. But I mean, that kind of always comes back to yourself and like just like realizing that everyone's learning a language and it doesn't really matter if you pronounce things wrong sometimes. So, but yeah, gist of that is basically just practice with friends, whether they be native speakers or as a second language, or if they're beginners with you, that's just as fun and you guys could be learning your brand new words together. I know I had a lot of friends in beginning one Chinese, shout out to you guys, who we were just learning like super random words together. We all like were so bad at Chinese in the beginning, and just like getting the hold of it together was so fun. Realizing that it does take time to learn a language, you're not gonna get really good overnight. Even if you spend all night like memorizing like your template conversation and you're like, I got this, but I totally don't understand it. Like for me, I don't know what happened, but one night everything just clicked. Like there was like a time before this when I was listening to like my audio tapes for my class, and then like I was also listening to like stuff in the background. I was listening to like YouTube videos that were like, learn Chinese in your sleep, and it's just like, hello, ni hao, and there's like binaural beats or whatever in the background. I would listen to that while I was awake. I don't know what the science is by listening to that while you're actually sleeping, but I just have that in the background like when I was like editing photos or just like walking around doing my laundry, I don't know. But yeah, and like I was just trying to get the sounds and like trying to speak them out loud just to get like the muscle memory going, and to just like hear it was so helpful. So yeah, basically exposure to the language, trying to speak it even if you suck, and listening to it, and then like the muscle memory will work, and then it will slowly just start to make sense. It might happen like kind of overnight like it did for me, but yeah, like you'll start to get it and just like keep working at it, and I know you got this. Last but not least, get your hobbies involved in it, talk to strangers, like just keep on practicing. Like if you're learning in China or whatever language, whatever place it is, like I live near like a shopping center on my campus, and even if I really was not trying to like buy something or go to the mall, or asking for directions or asking about a shirt, or like asking how you say the color of this, like just asking random people, like even if like you're just kind of like wasting your own time, it's not a waste of time because you are learning, you are exposing, and you're trying, and you're getting over like the hump of like feeling awkward to talking to like your real friends or like your real whatever. If you're talking to a stranger, you'll never see them again. It doesn't matter if your Chinese sucks. Alongside that, bringing your hobbies into it. If you're in China and you like shopping, use sites like Taobao. and you'll be like trying to Google translate stuff you want or stuff you want to look at, or just like figuring out characters and stuff from that. Or like me, I'm a photographer and I was trying to shoot with some models, so I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna try to like do a shoot in Chinese, or like having like a photo shoot with my Chinese friends and trying to say stuff like, oh, to the left, to the right, your head, your hand, like whatever, in Chinese, and just try to get like the exposure and just like always keep practicing, because you guys, you got this. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope this video was interesting, helpful, not too long, blah 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 blah. If anyone has questions about learning Chinese, or you guys want to hear me do more Chinese, blah 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 blah, comment down below, let me know. Subscribe, like, comment. I want to do some singing covers of me singing some Chinese songs and stuff, because I like listening to Chinese songs, because then I can learn it. I've been watching some like C-dramas and stuff once in a while. They're kind of like hard to find a good one that's not like too cringy, but you know, like it's good when you find like a decent one and you can kind of understand, learn the conversation a little bit. But yeah, thanks guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. 很高兴认识你们, nice to meet you all, and 再见, 谢谢, thanks, bye.